Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey at the JX Fight Club in Shanghai, China, and today we are going to talk about belts. So I was wearing this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belt in a video the other day, and our friend Daniel W. asked, Ramsey, what belt are you? Because he couldn't tell what color it is, because it's a very old, faded blue belt. So it's hard to tell if it's blue or gray or purple or lavender or whatever, right? Because it's so old and it's so faded, and it's, this belt has seen thousands of hours of mat time. So I said, I am not a belt. I have a belt. I'm a human. And I think that's a very important distinction. If I tie up my identity with a fashion accessory, and that is what a belt is. The belt doesn't hold my skill. It's not magic. My body holds my skill. My mind holds my skill. My consciousness, that's where it is. This is a symbol that some guy gave me a long time ago to denote that he felt I deserved it. Once upon a time. Since then, man, I don't even know how long I've had this belt for. It's been years. I'd have to think about that, go back and look at my records, but it's been a long time. And since I don't train with a black belt here in Shanghai, who is authorized to give out belts, I've had this same rank year after year after year. Now, I do most of my training without a gi, wrestling, catch wrestling, no gi jiu-jitsu, but I do train in the gi twice a week, at least 4 hours a week. And I do a lot of live rolling. Again, this belt has a lot of mileage on it. I'm going to tell you something. Here's a belt, another blue belt, that I get a lot more use out of. It's a weightlifting belt. This one's actually useful. See, this one keeps the lapels together. It's a big myth that martial arts belts keep your pants up. They don't. The drawstrings in your pants keep the trousers up. The belt keeps your lapels closed together on the jacket. But this one actually helps you with weightlifting technique, especially breathing technique when you do it correctly. So I'd say this is a valuable belt. This is an accessory. So when I was a younger man, I spent years chasing after belts, chasing after the coveted black belt in Taekwondo. And I've told part of this story before, where I struggled day after day, year after year, trying to be a competent martial artist. And after all those years, when I had conversations with people about Taekwondo, they would say, oh, that's great, you do Taekwondo. My 6-year-old is a black belt too. Oh, it's not the same, I would think. And I'd go to different Taekwondo schools and I would see little kids, barely 6, 7 years old, some even 5, wearing black belts who couldn't throw a kick to save their life, but wearing that rank I had struggled so hard and worked so hard for. And it was disillusioning. And time after time, I met people wearing that same rank I had struggled for and worked for so hard. They were wearing that same color belt, and they couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. And I thought, man, this belt, this symbol, if these people who suck at martial arts are wearing this symbol, what does it say about me wearing the same thing? And for a while I went through this phase where I was going to be the Taekwondo guy in MMA to redeem the art of Taekwondo from sucking. And I remember I had a few friends here on YouTube who had the same kind of mentality. They wanted to redeem this martial art that they loved in the eyes of the public by going out and kicking some serious butt in the cage. But something happened. We became well-rounded martial artists and better, well-rounded individuals. And I learned something, that chasing after a belt is kind of dumb, and I don't want to do it anymore. A few years ago, a high-ranking Taekwondo person came to me and offered me a 4th-degree black belt, a 4th Dan in Taekwondo, if I shook the right hands, signed the right papers, and paid enough cash to the right people. And I thought about it for a minute. That would look really good on a resume. 4th-degree black belt. Sounds cool, right? But I thought about it for 2 seconds and realized that extra yellow stripe on the belt doesn't make me a better martial artist, and it certainly doesn't make me a better human being. It's a decoration. And to pay some guy I've never even trained with, some guy I don't know, shake hands with people who could care less about me. What's the point of that? See, belts in martial arts, it's a fealty system. Fealty system like in medieval times, they would have the king who would divide his land among a system of lords, and then they would go out and recruit a bunch of knights to work for them and give them a parcel of the land, and then the knights would go out and get some guys under them. It's like a big pyramid scheme. And they would swear fealty to the knight above them. The knights would swear fealty to the lord. The lords would swear fealty to the king. And it would all trickle up to fealty to the king. And all that bowing in front of flags and senseis and masters and whatever, to get one of those of the right color with the right amount of stripes on it, to appease the right person, I'm not a big fan of that. I'll tell you what I am a big fan of. Winning fights, learning how to win fights, and training people to win fights. And belts don't fight your fights. You step on the mat with me, you're not going to fight this old tattered belt. You're going to fight the man. And this man has spent thousands of hours training for that fight. And no matter what color belt you're wearing, that's not going to save you. Your work will. I've visited a lot of different gyms, a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms, and they're not created equal. Man, some of these schools make it abundantly clear not all belt ranks are created equal. I remember I went to this one gym and rolled with everybody, rolled with their black belt, and it wasn't very good. Dude was a pushover. So I beat the black belt. I rolled with their brown belts. I beat them, rolled with the purple belts, beat them, mopped the floor with the blue belts, but went right across town to another gym. Something very different happened. I rolled with everybody, and they were tough. Man, even the white belts were tough. It was great. Man, it was awesome. It was like, I can't tell how tough you are based on your belt rank. This is cool. So, even the guys wearing the white belts were putting up a good fight. Man, one of them even choked me out. It was awesome. And sometimes I go to other gyms wearing this thing, and people, they don't look me in the eye. They look at my belt. They're staring at this thing like, they're sizing me up based on this color. They're trying to figure out, what color is that? Is that a purple belt? Is that a blue belt? Does the wear and tear on it mean he's any good? You find out how good he is the moment you lay hands on him. So a friend asked me another question, which was, is the reason I say I'm not a belt, I have a belt, is that comparable to my religion? Now, you may have seen my I'm a Mormon video. I'm a Mormon, surprise. Yeah, that's my religion. It's the church I go to, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I have this video telling people I'm a Mormon. We must remember a Mormon is not an object like a belt or a weightlifting belt. It's a person. It's a type of person. It's a classification of person. He asked me, why do you say I'm a Mormon instead of I practice this religion? Well, I suppose, firstly, out of convenience, it's easier to say I'm a Mormon than I practice the religion of the people who attend the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You know, man. You ever have the Mormon missionaries walk up to your door? They don't say, "Hi, we're the Mormon missionaries." They say, "Hi, we're from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints," and it's like 15,000 syllables coming out of their mouth, and by the time they're halfway through, the door's already closed in their face. Yeah, I used to be one of those guys back when I was 19 years old, 20 years ago. Man. But here's the thing about religion. Religion, my friends, is what we do. It's not what we say. So I can say, I practice the Mormon religion, or I practice Christianity, or I practice Buddhism, or whatever. Now, that's a really weird thing to say, because a practice is not what we say, it's what we do. So I would much rather have you see my religion than hear it. I'd rather you see somebody who speaks the truth, somebody who is integral with his word, than somebody who simply says that he is. There's a lot in common between martial arts that give out belts and religions. It's very cult-like. This whole fealty system I mentioned before, where you bow to your sensei and swear fealty to that one guy and his sensei all the way back to Helio Gracie or whatever. And some people like that. They like to state their lineage because it shows I'm legitimate. I trained with this guy, who trained with this guy, who trained with this guy, who trained with the founder of the art. And so my art is as legitimate as the founder of the art because I have this pure lineage. There were no McDojos along the way. There were no bozos who made stuff up along the way. My art is pure. And I get that. I understand that. But again, I like to think of myself as a man of action, and belts don't fight for you. You do. I wear the gi twice a week for one reason, and that is contrast, because contrast is a valuable teacher. I don't particularly enjoy training in the gi. I don't, because it is so vastly foreign and alien to anything you'll do in mixed martial arts. And a lot of people will argue and say, no, you need to train in the gi because the gi will make your no-gi game better, whatever, right? Contrast will make your no-gi game better. You could spend all that time grappling with boxing gloves on for contrast, too. And that would also be valuable. Sanda fighters do. In China, they wrestle with the boxing gloves on because that's how you have to take your opponent down in a Sanda fight. And if you've never done that before, you'll find it's very difficult to get double legs and single legs with boxing gloves if you've never tried that before. Try it sometime and you'll find, hey, that contrast taught me a whole bunch about double legs and single legs I didn't know before. So again, I wear it for the contrast. There is also kind of an odd sentiment in the mixed martial arts jiu-jitsu community, which is, in order to be seen as a legitimate instructor, with a few notable exceptions, if you're Greg Jackson or whatever, you can get away with this. But if you're a normal guy that nobody's ever heard of who makes YouTube videos and teaches in some random country like China, then you must have a high-ranking belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which denotes you are good at grappling in a gi, in order to teach this completely different sport where the gi is not even worn. That's kind of weird to me. It's like saying, You have to be a really good baseball coach in order to be a good football coach. There will be some crossover, but man, those are different sports, and you got to respect them as such. But anyway, what do you guys think of belts? Good? Bad? Have they ruined martial arts? I mean, really, I think the concept of belts in general has led to so many frauds in the martial arts world. It's led to a lot of McDojos opening. I think in some ways it incentivizes people to progress, and in other ways it incentivizes people to lie and cheat themselves out of an authentic experience. So what do you think about belts? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Get out there and train.